My name is Chris Taylor, and I'm the director of Food Fight. Food Fight is the story of food in America in the second half of the 20th century. It tells how we got where we are now in terms of industrial food and how a small rebellion against that food paradigm has arisen in California, starting at Chez Panisse and then spreading to Southern California through restaurants like Spago and Campanile and Michael's Restaurant, and then as the trend developed through farmers markets has gone nationwide. The inspiration behind Food Fight actually started with a book by Jeremiah Tower, who was an incredible chef in Berkeley. It's a fun book. He had a great career, and he claims credit for inventing California cuisine. It's probably not really true, but he contributed in a culinary way to a movement that now has become political. What he was seeking at Chez Panisse in Berkeley was a revolution in taste and flavor in the ingredients that were available to the restaurant. In searching out those ingredients, he ended up launching a food revolution. Now we call it local, seasonal, and sustainable, or it's called slow food. They're basically the same thing, and it has profound implications for our health going into 2008. Part of the revolution in food coming out of California in the 60s, 70s, 80s involved a number of restaurants that started cooking in a very simple style. You could think of it as actually rediscovering the cuisine of France and Italy, or the Mediterranean style, but adapting it to kind of the American farming system. It's a system which relies on great local produce, grown by small farms, grown organically, and then prepared by restaurants in a simple way, not sauced, not a lot of crazy, gimmicky mediations, but really delicious food prepared simply. It's a style of cuisine that we call California cuisine, but now it's spread nationwide, and you can get it pretty much every restaurant, every city in America. Dan Barber, for example, in New York City at Blue Hill, cooks in this style. It's a style that really honors the farmer, it honors the produce, and also it tastes great. It's about flavor. This is kind of a search for flavor, and interestingly has political ramifications. You know, I'm not an expert on Prop 2, and we didn't really deal with it in the film. And there are arguments on both sides of it. There's a lot more energy against caged animals for good reason. The biggest issue with caged animals is apart from the humane issue, which is very important, is actually pollution. The inability for the environment to deal with pollution of really high concentration caged animal feed operations is probably the single biggest cause of pollution in our country, is actually the way we grow and raise cattle and pigs for slaughter. And that, to me, is really the big problem with how we grow food. It's an incredible environmental disaster. In addition to that, there are issues of humane treatment of animals. They obviously deserve to be confined in a way that they have free access to open pasture. That's the way they were evolved to eat, to live, to grow. And that's the way they should be raised. The challenges in making Food Fight were really about how to start with a story that was really about a chef-driven movement, a movement in search of flavor, and how to make that narrative transition into a political movement that has ramifications for our health, for our environment, and for our energy in the country. That's a complicated story, and trying to keep it small enough that you could do it in one film that was probably my biggest challenge. What to include, what not to include. What I would say to young filmmakers is, hey, you have to be passionate about what you're working on, because you're going to be working on it for a long time, and you're going to have to sustain that passion. You should also sit down as much as possible, and you should wear comfortable shoes. My AFI experience has been wonderful. I'm an AFI graduate, and premiering Food Fight at the AFI Fest is very much like a homecoming. So it's been a great week. The festival has this amazing array of great films, and I'm really honored to be included in that group.